Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have an update on the Bryan Rachel Lindsay divorce. Yes, that's right. It's still going on. Hey, here's what I've learned about court systems. They move slowly, and I guess it's not settled yet. So here's your reminder. Get a prenup. Rachel's like, I know. So we're going to get into this right now. This story is a couple of days old. I've been meaning to cover it. We've just been obviously in a crazy time with some of the more breaking news stories that are happening out there. So let's jump into it. And by the way, I have a lot of questions from this article that don't really make sense to me because we're not reading the court documents. We're reading what the journalists put together. So you'll know what I mean when I get to it. Rachel Lindsay and Bryan Abasolo's divorce battle continues over spousal support dispute. And it's like, what's the dispute? Didn't the judge rule on this, or weren't we ready to go? Rachel's divorce drama with estranged husband Bryan Abasolo isn't coming to an end just yet. More than 9 months after Bryan filed for divorce from Rachel, the pair continued to battle it out in court over finances. And by all means, maybe a family law lawyer could say, oh yeah, no, this is super normal. I have no idea. According to court documents obtained by Us Weekly on Thursday, September 12th, Lindsay's average monthly income is now listed at $48,368, which is $1,000 less than the amount the court used to calculate spousal support 2 months earlier. Is that a typo? What's the point? What's the point of what we're saying here? I honestly don't know. I mean, if it's a typo, fix it. If it's not, how does it affect what Bryan's getting? Does that mean he's going to get less? Abasolo's legal team, however, won't agree to the new numbers and also doesn't agree with the court's decision that support should end on March 1st, 2026. And you also have to wonder, are they doing what's best for Bryan, or are they also just continuing to rack up the bill? Now, and my thought is, well, why would they be racking up the bill when, he might not have the money to pay it? So they're probably going to get what they're going to get out of it. But, they get a percentage or whatnot of whatever the total amount is, which is a good thing if you're employed by that law firm, but it's a bad thing for the state of the legal world that we live in the United States. I mean, everything is a lawsuit here. And I get it, by all means, when you're on the right side of it, it's a good thing to have representation. But the only people that win in divorces are the lawyers, right? They're the only people that make money. Bryan does not have the funds I guess in this case, Bryan's going to win some money. Bryan does not have the funds to engage in relitigation of issues the court already ruled upon, court documents state, especially based on incorrect facts and contradictory law. So it could just be that they're saying you got the number wrong. I don't know. And when you wonder, how could they get the number wrong? Well, they deal with a lot of things all day long. There's the clerk, there's people pushing buttons. Your eyes get a little cross-eyed because you've been watching a Dave Neal video on your other screen, and next thing you know, you subscribe to the Rush Hour podcast and you weren't really paying attention. The stenographer's got her earbuds in. We get it. Shout out to our stenographers. Big steno energy. On July 10th, the court ordered Lindsay to pay her ex $13,257 per month in support based on a monthly income of $49,368. She would also have to pay $15,000 in attorney's fees and costs and $5,000 in forensic expert fees and costs. In court documents obtained by Us Weekly in July, a judge advised Abasolo to pursue more work and not rely on his ex's spousal support. So this kind of sounds juicy. Oh, judge tells Bryan to get a job, but I think this is common advice they probably give to people in this scenario, which is, all right, regardless of the money you're going to get, it's not life-changing and it's only going to last for X amount of time. So, go on, get your LinkedIn profile dusted off, do whatever you got to do. So he says it'll eventually come to an end. Abasolo previously told the court that his career as a chiropractor suffered after he moved to support Rachel Lindsay's entertainment career. Which, by the way, he's got a point to it. He moves a brick and mortar across the country. I've been accused of being apologetic to Bryan, but I mean, it's fair. The judge ruled on. You know what I mean? What's so funny is whenever you have an opinion and people get mad at your opinion, but that opinion is also the opinion that the judge came to. It's almost like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. How could you say this about that? It's like, well, the jury also agreed. So it's like, what do you want? It's like you do a jury of your peers. They agree. A judge agrees. It's like, I think we're on the right side of the story. No, you must not be, whatever. It's still, just yelling at the cloud. But that's the internet, right? Yelling at the cloud. In court documents obtained by us. Okay, so we got that part. And this is a short-term marriage. So this is what the judge said. This is a short-term marriage. And it's like, welcome to Bachelor Nation. This was a long-term marriage in Bachelor Nation, where support is going to be short in duration. Both parties need to work to support themselves so that neither is permanently dependent on the spousal support order that's going to be issued in this case. Again, I'm sure that's very standard. The judge reminded the couple they are not fighting over very much. And Rachel's like, it feels like a lot to me. When people fight over money, it gets very emotional. Marital standards of living change when people get divorced. It's unfortunate, but that's what happens. They don't have to change immediately, but they do. They do change. My guess is this is the judge's way of saying tone down your spending and tone down your lifestyle. Lindsay and Episode found love during season, and then they go into all the other details. Well, that's it. I mean, that's your update. We don't have much else to say other than they managed to include a link to Nick Vile's podcast here. And that's the world of public relations, folks. I'm not saying he paid to put it there. I'm just saying that's how these articles work. Here's a story about Bryan and Rachel. Oh, yeah, she spoke on Nick's podcast. I mean, I guess it was relatively pertinent if, your goal is to get X amount of characters in an article. Do they have to worry about that? Because, me, I have to, when I make videos, I try to reach that 8-minute benchmark. And sometimes you're done at 5.5 minutes. And you would never want to waste your audience time just talking, filibustering about nothing. The Golden Bachelorette premieres tonight. Go check that out. It premieres at 8/7 Central on ABC, streams on Hulu. Are you excited about this as much as I am? Of course, Kelsey Anderson's husband, her father will be on Golden Bachelorette. Her fiance is on Dancing with the Stars. And if you're interested, I actually gave my thoughts on Dancing with the Stars on the Morning Rush Hour podcast, which is twice daily. I will also be including, wait, hold on, I have to get this ready to share. I'll also be including this interview, or at least a clip of it, on the afternoon rush hour. How about this? I know it's a side story, but when you talk about things getting messy, you think of Clayton Echard and his ex fling, that is, Laura Owens. He speaks with his ex that we love, the beautiful, the smart, the talented Susie Evans. He speaks to her here. And at the 56-minute mark, he actually mentions my name. He actually discusses, how me and Reality Steve and our audience have come together to support Clayton. The podcast that Susie has is now called Live, Laugh, Lives. You know what? Rather than play the clip that he mentions me, I'll play that on the afternoon podcast. I want to play the intro for you guys. This is the best intro of a podcast in the Bachelor Nation world that I've ever seen. This is Susie Evans' new podcast, Live, Laugh, Lives. If you guys didn't know, she came on my channel a few days ago on the Rush Hour podcast, and we discussed her new venture. But if she's going to be making banger content like this, I'm all about it.
Everyone just wants to live, laugh, love. But in this disappointing world, there are many who are faced with lies.
There's no way I'm actually dealing with a person that is this terrible of a human being.
How can she claim that she's pregnant with your child, but you have never had sex with her?
The more that you fight me, the more your lies get exposed.
This is Live, Laugh, Lies.
That's how you hook an audience, folks. And that's what I love. I mean, she get Susie to 1,000 subscribers, right? Unbelievable. And then she, of course, interviews Clayton about his crazy story, of course, accepting that DM, the offer to, have a canoodling session turned into $150,000 in legal bills and counting. So you can go check that out. Live, Laugh, Lives. Live, Laugh, Lies. Is Susie's YouTube channel and podcast. And if you want to support what we do, the best way to do that is to give us your support on the podcast and on Patreon. You can scan that for free to get the Twice Daily podcast, or go to patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want to be a part of our private membership community. We don't take any Russian money. We're all ad supported and funded by our members. So we appreciate everybody. And that's going to do it for us right now. More coming up next. I got the Rush Hour podcast on your way. We'll talk to you then. Have a good one, everybody.